Snow is falling on the city street, a quiet hush, a frozen beat. December air, sharp and cold, story waiting to be told. We gather round a fading light, seeking truth to make things right. And every mountain, every shore, we're knocking on justice's door. A lesson that the heart burns. From every valley, every door, we're asking, what are we fighting for? Only the people hear the call every ring. Stands now like for justice in the echo. For the silence and the lost, we remember the cost. Future we must build, a promise to be fulfilled. Seeking justice, let truth flow. We the people, let it snow, let justice grow.
Good afternoon. Mic check, mic check. Yes. Yes, on the first try. I am so thrilled to be coming here live today. I am excited to see every day for me. I have been trying and struggling to be able to get in here live. Finally, I made it. Had a problem with my knee. I don't know, a few years ago, probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I had to have a really long needle shot in my knee, and I think I might have to go back. It is horrible. I hope this happens to no one. All right. Every month you get a new song or new songs coming along really great. I'm going to have one for January for the new year. This song is only going to be played during December, just like in November and the months prior. And if you see, I changed the title. I've been doing the one-liners. Ouch. Internal police involvement and the DNA that has no name. Well, gee, I don't know who that could be. Do you know who it could be? Well, I sure don't. Now, and I'm getting ready to do a rant session here because I am spicy, coming in spicy hot today. Now, I don't know about you, but some of these Idaho professional agencies like ISP, you know, you just got to wonder. You got to wonder about these people. They are like the elite, the top of the top. They're ranked high in all the states. And we have every single forensic document that says nothing. There's no conclusion, no answers, no definitive links. And are you trying to tell me they don't know? who freaking did this crime? Because according to ISP and Moscow Police Department, there was absolutely no stalking, no involvement, no nothing. So are we just letting these college kids or cartel or whoever you want to speculate who did this get away with this? Is this the type of new world we're living in where they can get away with this shit and somebody else from an agency or somebody that is a no-name person is named in a major national global trial, and then they take a plea deal so they don't have to do the death penalty? Is this the kind of world we're living in? Is this the reaction that they wanted from us? Because they're getting it. And I'll tell you, every single day they try to hide more things. If you didn't see what I shared, wow. I shared it on a post. I was going to talk about it yesterday. I totally forgot. There is a document in the court repository that basically is asking for what? They are asking for an order from Judge Hippler without even having to have a hearing. What is this all about, folks? What is it all about? I'm telling you, the video I made this morning is causing some traction. Well, what video did I make? I'm going to show you. You know, I'm going to show you, especially those on the TikTok streets that are not at the YT and the ones that are at the YT that are not on the YT, YouTube, whatever you want to call it. If you're not on TikTok, you're going to see it here. If you're not on here, you're going to see it over there because I'm just sharing everywhere. I don't know about you folks, but I've had enough. Here we go. I'll share this one. Let it load. We are getting into it. Because you know what? No one else has gone there. No one else has said enough is enough. We, the people that are watching and listening and waiting for answers, are still waiting. And nothing has been done. Let's listen to it.
That are so upset with the new footage and the audio that has come out in the Idaho 4 case. Now, I am one of those people who have listened, who have looked, who have found things that are highly interesting. But here's the key point to all this searching and looking and digging. There are still 2 unknown male DNA in this case that has not been solved. Yes, someone took the plea deal. They admitted guilt because the only alternative was to go to a trial, which was already, well, in my humble opinion, skewed. And all this evidence wouldn't have equaled a guilty, in my humble opinion, because there are still 2 unknown male DNA in this case. I mean, have you ever really listened to the new audio at 2:21 a.m., at 2:47 a.m., 2:48 a.m., and lined it up to the actual court documents, which we were told? Still to this day, that is a big ouch. 2 male unknown DNA. I hope one day we learn the truth about this because we deserve transparency. What are your thoughts? Do you think that we deserve transparency when you see a national case like this in the headlines? Do we deserve to know the truth? I'll show you some audio and some video. These are, in fact, released from the Moscow Police Department. These are factually the video that they received and they released via FOIAs. It's just shocking. Doesn't make sense. Not the movements, not the frats, not the sorority. Nothing makes sense. I'm going to go live on the YT today at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm going to talk about this in more detail. We should have transparency. We will.
Here's my point. What did this witness see or hear? We see Officer Schneider go right up into this house because it's divided. It goes right up the stairs, right to the apartment that is renting below the apartment that is questionable. There are 11 bedrooms in this house, folks. 11. And I will say, what did this witness see and hear? Well, you know what? I'm going to play a little bit of part of this video once again. And I want you to listen really super close to this audio. You could hear that person sneeze, folks. And you can hear them go up these steps. You can hear the door close. Sound carries. Remember that song in the 80s, Hush, Hush, Keep It Down, Voices Carry? Does everybody remember that song? This fishbowl area carried noises. And we hear them very clearly on audio when they want us to hear them. But when they don't want us to hear them, they cover up the sound. They manipulate it. They quirk it, twerk it, squirk it, whatever how you want to call it. I don't know what it's called in audio. In professional audio, they are able to drown out the sound so that you don't get to understand what it is saying. But some of the things that I've caught very clearly is you could hear this person sneeze, you could hear this person walk up the stairs, and you can hear this person close the door. But at other times, forget it. You're not able to see anything. So what exactly was the police involvement? What do these professionals have to say for themselves? Now they're in the national spotlight, they're in the global spotlight. And I'll tell you, the Idaho LE agencies in the area, that includes all the sheriffs, all the police department, all ISP, who do these people answer to? Now I'm going to try to dispel a rumor here, but internal police involvement and the DNA that has no name, this immediately signals authority and evidence problems, folks. Credibility pain. This would be some type of credibility that they did not want to face. Now, I didn't welcome you all in for a reason. There's 69 people in here. There should at least be 50 likes. If you've not hit that like button, you're going to want to hit it. If you're trolling, you don't want to comment. I'm just going to be honest and upfront with you. And if this is not your stream, you're going to want to back out right now. You're just going to definitely want to back out, because here we rise above all the rumors and assumptions. We stay curious and we ask the questions, and we think with open minds, because every question matters. Every angle is welcome, even yours. And nothing's off limits. We respect everyone here. But the minute you disrespect anyone in this chat, the minute that you disrespect me, we are booting you. If this is you that feels this way, welcome home. You are in a safe place. And I'm your host, Phoenix. This is Phoenix Talks, and where curiosity sparks the fire. And boy, I'm going to put some fire under somebody's butt today. I will tell you, what's the real ouch in this whole Idaho 4 scenario? It's the police internal involvement. If they had someone on the inside involved, that would have been a Brady violation. Okay? But what does that really mean? You don't accuse someone, you question the process, the proximity, and the oversight. And that is what I've done in the last week. The process was they released all these documents that don't line up to the audio. The audio and the video, some of the videos line up perfectly. The proximity of these police officers were right around the corner. Right around the corner. If you haven't realized it, I'm just going to start spelling it out for you. These officers were right around the corner at Taylor, literally steps away. And the oversight, who managed these officers? Was it Blaker? I believe they were on a special detail. They were on overtime looking in that area. We've never seen any reports from Rosendahl except for one with the dog, with Murphy. Poor Murphy. Every time I think of Murphy, I just think, oh my gosh. Look at the proximity of those officers were to the victims, the scene, the social circles. They all had to have known each other there. They were a tight-knit community. And let me tell you this. I know you guys, we talked about Grub Truck. We've talked about so much here. But let me tell you, let me grab this Grub Truck footage because there's something I want to clearly point out to you. Wasn't there, who has the new footage? I think Birdie has it. Hold on. I know he's talked about it. Not a lot of people will get up here, honestly, and tell you this clearly. A lot of people won't. Now, if you saw Birdie last night, he had Mike on. Mike and I and Birdie go way back on the TikTok days. Okay? And this footage that I'm going to share instead of this screen, let me just go over here real quick. Let me throw this up. This footage is wild. Because, see, in the original footage, Joe Woodall, the guy that's taking the orders and taking payments, basically says, welcome back. What did he mean by welcome back? Welcome back. So strange of something to say, welcome back. Now, a lot of people are saying that this was from some movie. Some producer, some movie set this up. There was a movie producer there. Well, you know what? I started digging today after I started thinking about, there's got to be something with this. Was there some type of movie? See, and in order to film a movie, you have to have permission. You have to have some type of permit. So I started digging down this rabbit hole. And do you know what? The answer I got is that you have to go through the Moscow Police Department first. City Hall. You have to go and see if they were given a permit. So do you honestly think that Moscow Police Department is going to answer a FOIA to say that they filmed a movie that night? Do you think that they may do that? Yeah, I don't think so. But just in case, I asked for a FOIA. I called City Hall. I asked everything that was requested. I got all the information that I need to move forward to see if there was a movie being filmed this night. Because there was a lot of rumors about some producer in a Escalade or a Cadillac or some nice SUV. And if there was a movie filmed and they didn't have a permit, well, guess what? It's illegal. Because a permit or a license gives you the ability to do something that's technically illegal. Like fishing. You want to go fishing, you have to have a fishing license. You go and you give up your ID and you get your fishing license. You go fishing, and if they stop you and they ask you, do you have a fishing license? You say, yes, I have a license. Here it is. Okay? I'm legal. I can fish here in anywhere I want with this license. Do you have a license to drive a car? Yes. Driving without a license is illegal. So a permit or a license gives you the ability to do something that is illegal. Now, just like a doctor, you have to have a doctor's license to be able to surgically operate on people. Okay? All right? So when you look at three things that I've just given you, The police have oversight, they have proximity, and a process. The LE, law enforcement, they had proximity to the victims, social circles, and the whole crime scene. Small town policing dynamics factor. It's an overlap of personal and professional lives. I'm just saying. There were rumors about people dating police officers that were involved in this case. That is a conflict of interest. Who investigated whom? Their friends investigated each other? I'm going to give you an example of something that is far outrageous in the city, or I should say in the state of Idaho. However, in the agencies in Idaho, you know, I'm sure you guys have heard of witness intimidation, like in a case where a witness is actually been threatened or intimidated not to testify in a trial. I'm sure y'all have heard of this, right? Well, what if I told you today in the state of Idaho, this stuff still happens? Witness intimidation. Yeah, it's crazy, folks. I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to share this with you. And then I'm going to bring you a story that shocked the heck out of me. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this. Did you fix your TikTok issue? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. All right. I mean, small town politics are wild. They are rampant and running wild in Idaho. And I'm not saying this just happens in Idaho. This happens almost everywhere. I mean, when you have a small town like this and people know each other and this and that, it happens. But let me show you what happened here. All right. Let's get going. Here we go.
Out now! Out now! Let's go! This man is assaulting me! And that's your deputy!
Tonight, the Idaho Attorney General will not charge Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris after a town hall incident. In February, a viral video showed Norris ordering private security to remove Teresa Boren-Paul and 3 others from a Republican town hall in Coeur d'Alene. Today's decision stems from multiple public corruption complaints regarding Norris's alleged actions. The review focused solely on whether Norris's actions met the legal definition of battery. A letter sent by the AG office says, quote, the investigation did not uncover any evidence to suggest the sheriff acted in bad faith or with malice, and criminal charges would not be appropriate. The 5 security guards involved are still facing charges, and their trial is set to start next month. And we reached out to Boren-Paul's attorney, but have not heard back. You can read that full letter up on our website, crime.com.
So if you're wondering what happened, this is what happened. There was a town hall in Coeur d'Alene, and the trial for Paul Tourette, an owner of a security company, was basically being, there was a trial. And one of the individuals that was seen at the town hall was speaking up, which you have the right to free speech. I don't know if you have the right to behave like that. However, the sheriff told his private security, 5 people, to remove her from the town hall. Okay, that's what happened. So trial was getting ready to go, and then this happened. Now there were charges. But get this. This is day 2 of town hall. This was December 16th, 2025, just an update yesterday. Okay. I mean, this is wild. This is wild. Private security guard, Sheriff Norris shows up. They have trial.
Now to a story we broke first on Nonstop Local. Day 2 of the Paul Tourette trial has wrapped up. He is the owner of the security company that executed the removal of Teresa Bornpole out of the Kootenai County Republican Central Committee meeting. Today we heard from her herself. She was emotional, at some points tense day in Kootenai County. Nonstop Local's John Webb was in the courtroom today.
Morgan, Teresa Bornpole said that she had bruises and cuts on her hands and knees, bruises all over her body. She said she also experienced emotional distress amidst all of the chaos, but she called it violating, dehumanizing, and embarrassing. When the security guards approached her, Bornpole reportedly asked who they were. She claims they never responded. That's when Bornpole said she was grabbed by them. Bornpole said there was a third person who came over and allegedly pulled her arm forcibly. She identified that man as Paul Truitt. Bornpole claimed she was then pushed to the ground and dragged out. She said she used her feet to grab onto the chair as she was being dragged out, calling it absolutely humiliating. Defense asked Bornpole if she thought the sheriff was going to kidnap her. She said, quote, "I had no idea what they were capable of."
It was incredibly painful. There was a lot of adrenaline at the same time. I just remember it getting tighter and tighter and tighter, the grip. They were pulling my hair. And when I was face down on the ground, one man was fully sitting on my buttocks and the other man kneeled with his knee between my shoulder blades.
Tomorrow, Sheriff Norris is expected to testify. And as I said in our broadcast last night, Morgan, the big question in this trial, how the jury will weigh the First Amendment protections of the people removed from the town hall and whether or not the sheriff's authority to command the security guards to assist supersedes that. If convicted, Truitt faces up to 6 months for the battery charge, as well as a year for that false imprisonment charge, although there are 4 counts per charge. So we'll have to wait and see. The trial was expected to wrap up tomorrow, but it's uncertain at this.
All right, so that's basically what happened in this case. Now, you do know and you understand that I just told you that obviously everything was dropped. But guess what the sheriff did? There was going to be someone testifying from another police department, actually 2 police departments, against the sheriff and his messy ways, because those were private security, didn't identify themselves, in black clothing like they were part of some black ops, undercover or something. And get this, the sheriff decided that he was going to revoke special duties from the departments that were going to testify and be witnesses against this abuse of power, in my humble opinion. He rebukes the special deputy status of Coeur d'Alene Ratham police chiefs. Now, why did he take away those special privileges? Well, those special privileges are actually people like he's actually put together, like special SWAT police details. So that basically he was retaliating against these police chiefs and basically saying, well, I'm going to strip you of your X, Y, and Z. And when they do that, the sheriff now puts those counties, cities, towns, whatever, in jeopardy, because now they don't have special privileges like to be able to call SWAT or joint agencies. And so now Coeur d'Alene's office is compromised. It impacts the citizens in the county greatly, they say. Can you believe this? It's very disappointing that a sheriff would use personal grudge to affect so many citizens' lives. Wood said many officers find themselves having to investigate a colleague at some point in their careers. It's part of their professional duty. It's never something you want to have to do, but it's our duty to follow the law. That means everyone needs to follow the law. Not just some people get special treatment and not following the law. In my eyes, in the Idaho 4 case, It looks like everybody just turned a blind eye and they all got away with this, in my opinion. So at some time in their careers, they would definitely have to investigate one of their own. Was Rosendahl ever investigated? Does anyone know? They never had a Franks hearing. They never said exculpatory evidence. Now we're seeing the videos like I just showed you, where there might have been another witness. That could have been another witness to what happened that night, and the time frames must have been so like important that they wanted these times hidden. Well, now we get it. It's all over the news. Social media influencers are sharing this story, not only because it sells and it gets clicks and likes, and some of us are out there for the right reasons, that we can see beyond these investigations of colleagues. And that, my friends, I want to say it's tyranny. I mean, you have to look at the rough definition of tyranny. Oppressive power exerted by government, a government in which absolute power is vested in a single rule-rone characteristic of an ancient Greek city-state. And what would that be? Would that be the Greek lifestyle? Think about what you're watching and what you're witnessing right now. Is this where everyone can do what they wish and get away with it? Is that what we're really watching? That there's no accountability? 2 unknown male DNA, possibly 3 with the glove? Is that what we're watching? Is this the new America? That we're going to go live in a Greek city-state with Greek rules? Because this is just like the witch trials. Y'all know about those, right? Wow. Every time I see something new, I'm just shocked. And then the final outcome, it was Sheriff Norris was cleared of all charges. Cleared of all charges. You know what? That's a great question. When you start thinking about the conflict of interest of the safeguards, that's lack of documentation. I never saw any witnesses' statements that corroborated the time that we have seen in the audio and the video. I've not seen all the audio that we heard between 2 and 3. Rules for thee and not for me. I wonder how many, let me just see if I can Google this. How many graduates in colleges across America belong to the Greek life system? I'm curious. In 2024, let's just do 2024. Holy freaking moly. Active members on campus throughout the United States, 750,000 college students are actively involved in fraternities and sororities across the United States. This is at the undergraduate level, folks. This is Texas, Tennessee Tech, myfraternity.com, myfraternitylife.org, sorry. More than 800 college campuses. There are nearly 750,000 students involved in the Greek life. Those are undergrads. A study from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln showed 90% of the Greek community retained members, while the campus average retention was 82%. Wow. That is wild. Total U.S. college population fall enrollment is 19.3 million students nationwide. Around 3 to 5% are Greek life participation. It could vary by campus. Some schools have Greek participation as high as 40+%, others much lower. Wow. 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 I'm going to ask, what's the number for the last 5 years total Greek life graduates? In the last 5 years, including 2024 as well, over almost 1 million people are affiliated with graduates over the last 5 years. Over 1 million. Wow. 85% say students graduate on time, higher than the national average. Dang. 1/4 to 1/5 of them graduate each year. I said this from the beginning. These are the future leaders in our country. These are the future attorneys, judges, doctors. This is crazy the more you think about it. Versus non-like Greek members. All right, let me see. Versus non-Greek. Versus, it was 19.3 million non-Greek members. Non-Greek graduates are about 2,850,000. So it says 4 to 5% are Greek getting a bachelor's, and then more than 3 million getting master's. Greek affiliated is almost 1 million. Non-Greek is almost 14 million. Still a high percentage. I mean, we just have to pray, in my humble opinion, I'm thinking, we just have to pray that the good ones don't get positions. And speaking of that, I'm going to bring something up that might chap some people's butts, but you know what? I'm a little spicy today. I just have to share this one thing. Remember the little scandal a couple months back with this guy? Does anybody remember this? Well, this article was from December 29, 2022. Yeah, they have to maintain a high GPA. So this guy was just blasted all over the internet. I would say almost maybe 2 months ago. Let me look back real quick. I'll tell you. Let me pull it up. Here it is. September. Gosh, it's already September, October, November, December. Almost 3 months ago. September 15th, almost to the day. Okay, so Idaho state employee fired after post about Charlie Kirk, what I feel to be the truth. So David, all right, David basically got chastised in the social media because he made some comments about Charlie Kirk. He was fired the next day by the Idaho Department of Labor. Okay, I know we all remember that, right? And this is paid. You have to have a subscription. So when he got fired, one of the guys who came up here, and I will show you, hold on one second, let me grab it. One of the guys that came up here, it was in the Idaho press. One of the senators had said something about this guy. And I always wondered why this was kind of like political. Bear with me. So this kid has a political background. He's working for the Idaho Department of Labor. He's got some ins, okay? And I always wondered why. Let me see if I can put this back up on the screen. Maybe someone knows that can share with us. So he got fired for his political views. And all it says is he's no longer a no longer working with the Department of Labor. What is wrong with this? Let me see if I can remove it and throw it back up here. Here it is. Okay. I remember, I can't find it right now, but I remember I was talking about, the Department of Labor was inundated with phone calls decrying David's comment. So they had to do something because it was brought to the attention. That's interesting. That's interesting. You know what's interesting too is that when he was fired, I've never seen anyone else get attacked like that for sharing their opinions. So that would make sense, Lisa, if somebody called in and was complaining. That would make total sense. I wonder who all these people were calling and complaining. I wonder who it was. Anyways, so he gets fired, but yet he was front and center, in regards to the online rumors and the rumor mill that he participated in this. And I never saw his name anywhere, not on the suspect list, not on the involved list, not on the question list, nothing. Like nothing. He had nothing to do with this. But remember, in his statement in the documentary, that he had to be home at 4:00. He was rushing home at 4:00. 4:00. So I don't know what happened on T-Rev, but he said he wasn't involved. He wasn't involved. He was, maintaining his innocence and this and that. And, a lot of people just went silent. He was one of those that was very outspoken that he was innocent and he didn't like what the media was trying to do to him to drag him down. Now, I don't know why people called in and got him fired. They just maybe didn't like him, or the statements that he made were just uncalled for. But there were a lot of people who made statements like this that were not fired from their jobs. So I'm wondering if this was an inside political thing that they had to take care of too, right? That always questioned my mind. It came across, I questioned the unthinkable. Was this some type of strategy to get him out of this spotlight because of what I just shared with you, the corruption, the Greek life system, and all these other things? Was it some of his buddies that wanted him out of that job? Because eventually, anyone who's elevated will fall. Taking care of loose ends. That is a really great way to put it. That is a great way. So when we talk about the grub truck, we're looking for answers if there was indeed a movie. So, of course, I start calling around everywhere I can to find out some information if a movie permit was filed. We'll see how far it gets. And I wonder if anyone else thought about doing this. Because I'm curious to see if any of these rumors are true. Maybe the rumor mill could have almost anything, right? Unfortunately, the rumor mill is rampant in this case all over the place because they have people out there, in my opinion, that are paid narrative pushers. They want you to believe something else. Now, one thing I will say, if anyone didn't notice, I'm sure you noticed the white car. I'm sure you noticed the white car. And I can also go down to Phoenix and look and see if there's a filmmaker from Arizona by that name that filed a permit. I can definitely go down there and check. Now, you notice this white car that possibly had been visiting the area of King Road, because everybody swears up and down that that guy getting in the tank top, I call them wife beater shirts, but that's just what I call them, lives at the 1119 King Road. I've not found any public data that says that. It's just a rumor that DL lived at that apartment, 1119, with the 11 rooms, and they're all separated, oddly enough. But there is no proof that this car, I mean, does it look like the Hyundai Elantra from the side? Absolutely. But if you remember my search that I did, I'll just show you again. I will show you again. Remember I said, doesn't tell me the make and model of this car. And it gave me a Honda Accord, a coupe. Do you guys remember that stream? I'll show you. Remember I got this car from the grub truck? And I said, what make and model is this car? And this car, I believe, does show up on King Road. I believe it does. Let's do a live dig. These are always such fun. Let me do, let's just see if this one does pull up. Because I could just go screenshot that video and I could ask, what kind of car is this? If at all, everything lines up. Everything syncs up. I believe it was the 408, wasn't it? I believe it was at 408, according to my notes. That's the one that goes all the way to the back and parks. Hold on one second. Let me see if I've got it. I think it's 408. 407. Let's see. 416. Here we go. Let's see if this is it. I don't think it's this one. They blurred that one out way too much. That sounds like a truck to me. At 429. Let's see. You know what? I think a good one. Let me go grab it real quick. I'll grab this one because remember how we were told that Koberger came back at 9 a.m.? Let me show you what I found. This is insane, folks. Let me just go back one. Oh, my word. Let me grab this. Let's see. Where is it? All right. I'm going to go back at the 9:08 a.m. Where is it? 9:08. I wrote that one down. There is a car that comes through that looks like this car. There are people that look like they blurred people out on this day video. I don't know if you guys have watched this video in detail. They have blurred people out, in my humble opinion. That is not the car I want. They say Koberger came back at 9 a.m. in the area. They didn't say he drove through this road, but he was in the area. But I did see a car that was similar to it come in. Just got to remember what time it was. That was a gray car. You hear how that sounds? Doesn't that sound like the car that was there at night? Did you guys listen to this car? That is a Ford Fusion. Can we contact the guy to see if he will use the video? Oh, they did finally admit it was inaccurate. Okay, cool. Listen to the way this car sounds. Interesting. Interesting the way that car sounds. Exactly. That's my point. Holy moly. How do we know that all these names on the state's exhibit list are not confidential informants, like allegedly Hunter Johnson, Connor Chestnut? How do we know that these people that are named in there are not CI witnesses? Has anyone thought of that? Is that even possible? They have blocked and redacted people's faces. There's another car coming in. They're definitely moving around doing something. Listen to the sound. There goes this car once again, leaving. Listen to it. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at all the cars during the day and match them to the nighttime. Listen to the way that car sounds going down that. There is a lot going on around there. That sounds like a power pressure washer or something. Doesn't that sound like a... Hold on a minute. What is that noise? Talking. That's a car coming back. Sounds like a pump. Sounds like a plunger. Yep. I was just about to say the same thing. Sounds like some type of plunger, or maybe they tried to flush something down the toilet. There goes that car. Someone yelling, stop. Wow, listen to that dog. Little delayed, the sound. I know it's not that car making that noise, is it? See how loud that is? Ouch. That's just wrong. So wrong. But you get my point. These ouch moments that we hear some people whisper, we hear things that sound like power washers, pressure washers, plungers, and then we hear all these other, and we see all these other blurs, people walking around. Looks like people were walking around here that they blurred out by this car all the way down. I mean, what for? If the oversight has failures that the police did not involve and investigate themselves in, and it doesn't require like bad intent, it's just human bias. See, because history repeats itself. We've seen this before, guys. We have seen this. It is eerie. It is very eerie watching this, knowing that they've already been laying in the house and all this activity happening outside that no one bothers to go and check. I don't think Dylan and Bethany were there. I think when this started, they took off. They got out of Dodge. I think everyone at the grub truck knew what was going to happen. I think everyone in this area knew what was going to happen. Do you know why I think? I think this because do you remember the story of Hudson Lindo? His body was pulled from Paradise Creek. Well, in 2013, there was another body pulled from Paradise Creek. Very similar to this. Very similar. And I think when Hunter Lindo was found in May of 2022, and people started talking about it and putting the pieces together and seeing that history was repeating itself, that the frats and the sororities got scared and allegedly couldn't sacrifice anyone because they were watching. They were waiting. They were looking. This has been going on for a long time in this area. Let's put Idaho on the map. Let's show what's been happening for a long time in this county with this prosecutor of 30 plus years. According to the coroner, the official cause of death is drowning in a 3-foot creek, and foul play does not appear to be a factor. The toxicology report will not be processed for another 2 to 3 weeks. Wow. Wow. No details regarding the body's identity has been released. We do know it was Hudson Lindo. Too many hunters in this case. History repeats itself. Yes, it's a common issue. There were 2 bodies found in that creek. In 2013, there was another body, and in 2022, another body. Other bodies were found under bridges. This was right by the university parking lot on the back side. College Street is right here. This is the creek. Paradise Creek runs right through it. And there was a lot of other people who have perished in and around this college. I'd be afraid to send my kids there, honestly. And when I say this, I mean it with my whole heart. ISP and all these police departments, if they rule it's an accident, or the coroner says it was a suicide or it was no foul play, everything is always there's no foul play. How do they know that? Did they gather enough evidence, or did they just ouch and look the other way? They don't want to see it. Because here's what matters legally. You can't put someone on trial without evidence. But in the Idaho 4, they did. They didn't have any good, solid evidence. So here's the deal. Reasonable doubt thrives in this case with Bryan Kohberger being the one charged. The defense doesn't need an alternative suspect. They just have unresolved questions like whose DNA was it? But then you run the risk of a catch-22. Now you're asking them and begging them to run this DNA through a system like 23andMe or Ancestry to say who it is, if they've ever done one, or if any of their relatives or family have done one. Now we're begging them to take our rights away. It's a catch-22. Are enough people going to yell out to take our rights away? Absolutely not. Is this some type of social activity or social experiment? They want to see how we're going to handle the judicial system? Yeah, Austin Dostin was beat up. He did come out of the coma. Absolutely. See, in the unidentified DNA and the potential internal conflict is, think about it. It's doubt. Transparency is the cure, not silence. Look how bad these departments are looking. Look at how we the people have dug into this, and then Idaho State Police has to come out and redact and say, well, by the way, it was a glitch in our system that Bryan Kohberger's name came up on December 5th in our system. Too many eyes are watching. Think about it for 1 minute. They didn't have to send anything out to the media. They didn't have to put anything on their website. They didn't have to say, oh, by the way, it was a glitch in our system, guys. Everything's cool. Bryan Kohberger's name wasn't in there on the 5th. It's all good. It's all pretty legit. See, because transparency is the remedy to this. Transparency is the cure, not silence. I'm going to ask you guys, should all the unidentified DNA be explained to the people? Because this is a unsolved cold case. Clearly. I mean, let me just ask the question. What is the criteria for a true cold case in Idaho? Let's see what it says. In Idaho, a cold case is definitely not defined by a single statute, but by law, enforcement, practice, and policy. There you go. There you go. That distinction matters, especially for cases like I've been talking about the Idaho 4. The case is considered cold when there are no active suspects, no actionable tips, no pending forensics test, no active warrants or surveillance, and no scheduled interviews. If new evidence is still being processed, like DNA, digital forensics, or phone extractions, this is not a true cold case. So, are they still investigating those unknown DNA? This case can be unsolved for years. Do you know why I say that? Because it wasn't Mowich, it wasn't Kopaka, it wasn't anyone else that did this. And how do I know this? Any other criminal, it wouldn't have been Jose Cruz. They would have already had that prints, the DNA in the system. They were convicted, known individuals, except for obviously Kopaka. But they had his DNA in the military database. They would be able to get that from the DOD or the VA. So when you think about this, they would have already known those 3 individual DNA. Do you think that someone else is responsible? Are you trying to tell me that the 2 individuals that did this died? Because I call bullshit. I call bullshit. And I told you I was going to get spicy today. I am calling bullshit. Because you know what? Koberger was arrested on the 15th. On the 30th. Kopaka died on the 15th. Mowich died before. Cruz was not his DNA, not his thumb, not his latent prints. I call BS whoever's trying to blame this on dead people. Because those prints they have that are unknown DNA have to be young enough that they were never in a criminal database. They were never charged with anything. Their DNA has never been swiped unless they went into the military. Because if you think about this, someone is covering for someone, and this will be marked a cold case. Even though Koberger didn't do it, and they're not actively investigating who did do this. That's true justice. See, our criminal system, our justice system, is not true justice. Whatever happened in Moscow, Idaho, was like, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be bold enough to say it. This was like gang activity. Gang among people that didn't think they would get caught. That someone would cover up for them. There is no assigned primary investigator. Brett Payne's gone. There is no full-time detective assigned to the Idaho 4 case. He hasn't moved to a cold case unit. They don't even have a cold case unit there. Has anybody called in new tips? Has anybody been watching these videos and saying, oh my God, there's another possible witness? They already know it. Do we know if any outside agencies are requesting a review? No, we don't know that. There's no more prosecution path. And that's the sad thing. Did Idaho make an agreement with Brian Koberger that he would be able to do X, Y, and Z and then be transferred to an autism unit in Pennsylvania? Is he even in the IMSI jail? Has anybody ever seen him? He's never answered anybody's cards, letters, Christmas gifts, nothing. They say now he's not able to use his commissary privileges or his tablet privileges, and now he's just MIA. Nobody sees him because he spends 23 hours in a cell. So who could we possibly write that we know is there other than Chad Daybell? I've already tried that route. What do you guys think? Should we try to ask somebody who may know that if he's even still there? Because real quick, they're trying to make it look like, oh, he's going to commit, you know what? It's a cold case. Cold freaking case. And here's the common public myths. No arrest, cold case. No true arrest, cold case. DNA missing, that's still not somebody arrested to be held responsible. Years past, cold case. Media silence, cold case. You don't see the media talking about what we're talking about. You don't see them talking about the new audio video. You don't see them talking about the new evidence. See, the fixed narrative is silent, controlled. It's a done deal. And then you've got all these social media influencers talking about how bad Kober is, and even though they know the truth. All these alternative leads were never pursued. Evidence review is limited, and the case is kept open to avoid security or FOIA exposure. Even the FOIAs aren't being answered. So what does that tell you? It is a cold case. They don't have the DNA of some people, and if they do, they've covered it up. That is a big, powerful ouch. Ouch. In Idaho, a true case is one where law enforcement has exhausted all viable leads. No investigator is actively assigned and no prosecution is pending. The case is administratively inactive, regardless of how old the case is. You think after three years, folks, in a month, almost to the day, they would have uncovered the unknown DNA. What do you think? Do you think that they know who did this? Drop a yes or a no. They buried it with the house. They buried it with all the evidence. These people are going to get away with this. What if your daughter dates one of the unknown male DNA? What if your son dates one of the unknown DNA? Wouldn't that scare the living crap out of you? Oh, Mom, I met this wonderful guy. He's amazing. What if it's one of the unknown DNA? Yeah, this guy went to the University of Moscow in 2022. One of how many students were there at the time? Two of how many students were there at the time? What if your daughter brought home someone that graduated from Moscow? U of I in 2022 went during that time frame. That's some scary stuff, folks. It's possible. Anything is possible. Yeah. Can I take a sample of your DNA? Can I send it to the ISP and the Moscow Police Department to run a check on you? Do you mind? It's not like you can do a quick background check on DNA, folks. It's easy to do a background check. DNA, only the legal authorities can check DNA. That's a pretty scary thing. Don't you think that someone's daughter, someone's parents should know who they're dealing with if they do know? Don't you think that would only be the right thing to do? If they know this DNA that has no name, that actually may have a name, don't you think the public should know? Don't you think that they would be hot on getting this person charged to be held accountable? Because I guarantee you, that statement from Brian Enton that said, oh, a source told him that Koberger asked, was anyone else arrested? That's a bunch of BS. Because the only people that he probably could have possibly even known was already dead. Why would he ask if someone else got arrested? Think about it. Blows my mind how some people will go on a rant and say, oh, I know this and I know that with no facts. Blows my mind, folks. If you've enjoyed this stream in the hot, spicy Phoenix, go ahead and give me a like. And I cannot believe I cannot believe a creator out there is now making videos on what I've been talking about. Wow. Blows my mind. Y'all, my mom, and definitely, but like, I wish if one person could speak out, I wish Chief Fry would. Somebody with integrity would speak up. I wish they be well, everyone, be well.
Snow is falling on the city street, a quiet hush, a frozen beat. December air, sharp and cold, a story waiting to be told. We gather round a fading light, seeking truth to make things right. And every mountain, every shore, we're knocking on justice's door. Oh, we the people hear a call, the freedom ring, stand tall. Sweet as night, our voices raise for justice in these coming days. Let truth like a river flow. Some promises were left to break, for every dreamer wide awake. But in the cold of remember the cost for the future we must build, a promise to be fulfilled.